that dude. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the boardroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the boardroom, you gotta stand the rain. Big block engine with 26 inches on the chrome I ride. Started at the bottom, soared to the top and still on the ride. Air handshake solid, see the deal airtight. He gave you the blueprint to grind and get your hustle right. Money in the vision, it was dirty but he washed it clean. Turned a dollar to a dream, now he living like a king. From the late nights grinding to the early bird moves. Ask around the city, he really that dude. He love how he talk it cause he walk it through. Every step calculated, everything come through. From the hood by the views, yeah, the rooftop views. He the bridge between the struggle and the good life views. Never fold under pressure, shine like a diamond in the sun. Every loss was a lesson, every win is hard won. Now the crowd chant his name when he steps in the room. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, you know he's the truth. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the boardroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the boardroom, you gotta stand the rain.
Yeah, yeah. Listen up. It's B-Eazy Dat Dude, the great. He ain't fake, he one of the real guys. Spitting fire every stream. You been late to the party, now it's time to realize. From Pittsburgh to around the world, yeah, the flow is elite. Every beat that he slide on turns into straight heat. Came up from the grind, selling box on a laptop, running up a bag, feel like he hit the jackpot. Got the luxury visions, ambition vivid, never bluff. Person's progress, persevere when the going gets tough. B-Eazy Dat Dude, got stripes in the game. Every rhyme, every line, they gon' remember the name. From the streets to the stage, the energy don't fade. Legend in the making, yeah, history's what he's laid. Mic in his hand, heart in the flow and soul on every beat. Dropping knowledge, power, bravado, his legacy complete. Hustle amplified, lyrics electrified, that's the truth. B-Eazy Dat Dude, established with certified proof. Feel the bass, feel the vibe, let it ride through the crowd. All the words, every hook, man, he keeps making us proud. King of his lane, rising above every feud. All hail the one and only, one and only, one and only. B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah. Yeah.
Ayo, who is that dude? Oh girl, that's just B-Eazy. Oh boy, that's just B-Eazy. Well, who is B-Eazy? Oh, you ain't know he been a pro, for show, all about the dough. He been running up them racks and still trying to get some more. He really one of them ones, his presence so pivotal. So hell yeah, he that dude, this is unequivocal. Hey, yo, yeah, that's B-Eazy, that's the name. Way before the world knew he was running the game. Laid the groundwork, built the foundation strong. Been influencing the whole scene all along. Now everybody gotta give that man his praise. A living legend for the rest of his days. Oh, he deserves all the accolades, yeah. B-Eazy, B-Eazy, gotta give that man his praise. A living legend for the rest of his days. Oh, he deserves all the accolades. B-Eazy, B-Eazy. We all here to see B-Eazy. We wanna listen to B-Eazy. Ayy, we all like B-Eazy. Nah, matter of fact, we love B-Eazy. Believe me, he really that dude. Subscribe to the channel, it's easy to do. If you care, then go ahead and share this fire content, extraordinarily rare. That's why I put that on my mama, he is that dude. And I put that on my daddy, he is that dude. So He always do it big, you know who it is. B-Eazy, B-Eazy, B-Eazy that dude. He on his way to the top and he ain't about to stop. You thought he would flop and didn't wanna give him props. The things you dreaming about he already did do. Now it's time to soak a game he about to give you. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to tune in when he goes live. Make a contribution if you feeling the content. Tap into the realness if you tired of the nonsense. I mean, no disrespect, ain't trying to sound rude, but the world already knows that B-Eazy's that dude. Ooh. Hey yo, who is that dude? Oh girl, that's just B-Eazy. Oh boy, that's just B-Eazy. Well, who is B-Eazy? Oh, you ain't know, he been a pro for show, all about the dough. He been running up them racks and still trying to get some more. Don't care about the fame, just trying to gain and grow. He really one of them ones, his presence so pivotal. So hell yeah, he that dude, this is unequivocal. Hey yo.
Turn your radios up. Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy Dat Dude, an impromptu stream back with another one. This one is a double header, so it's gonna be a banger. Will ruffle some feathers, so it will be a doozy. Now it's late night. I had to come back and tap in with the fam. So I'm going to cue this video up. But before we get this thing started, you know, I gotta hit ya.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元民と言ってもさすがにです。もう友達できたの？うん。ぶったまんまこっち見ない。
Your competitors, niggas better catch up. I'm like 10 steps ahead. Look, this promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, move it for me slow mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting moto. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about no ho, no ho. This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this bread forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy Dat Dude in the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji eating tandoori and chicken curry, that ism is really indie. My pimp game international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of bad. And we are activated. Now we here on a late night stream, so I had to come in and tap in with the fam. Check out my stream earlier. I believe it was a fruitful stream since I had some extra time today. Many of my streams are impromptu, so I want to tap in with y'all on the late night. But we're going to get right into it. This will be a fruitful stream. Now, I'm going to be reacting to this video from a content creator who goes by the name of Sergeant Willie Pete. Now, this video is from about
4 to 5 years ago. However, it's still relevant today. It's titled Jay-Z. Hold on, what's the title? Damn, they got okay. Jay-Z needs to stay in his lane. And it's not just Jay-Z. Many celebrities, many people in general need to stay in their lane and their area of expertise. And I don't remember fully what this video was about, but I know that he was critical of Jay-Z and his tap dancing and samboing when it came to the NFL and the whole Colin Kaepernick fiasco. So this video is going to be a prelude to the broader discussion. Is there such thing as an ethical billionaire? So I want to have a wider discussion about ethical billionaires, how Jay-Z has hurt or helped the Black community, why they're always trying to prop up these celebrities and ill-informed entertainers as our leaders. So this video is going to be highly critical of Jay-Z. I'm not saying no one should go out there and do harm to him. However, he's not a god, so he's not above reproach. Neither am I, right? So we're going to get into this video. Like I said, some of these references are from 4 to 5 years ago, but it still will be relevant today. So let's get into the video.
And, you know, they engage in magical thinking. And, I mean, what do you want me to say? You already know how I feel about it. It's one of the reasons why I have a problem with street niggas. Most street niggas are raised by single mothers, and, you know, they engage in magical thinking. And, you know, the Black community loves them for it. I mean, I just saw some shit that somebody sent me about the shade room and the white lady that was talking about Lizzo and her promoting obesity. I agree with her 100%. You know, and again, I haven't posted my video about the thick house, which is actually the fat house, and how, you know, that just reinforces the mammy, overweight Black woman, Hattie McDaniel from Gone with the Wind, you know, Black female stereotype. And Black women don't get it. I'm looking at comments in the comment section of women saying things like, you know, skinny people have diabetes too, and you know, nobody asked her for her opinion, and you know, your body shaming and all this other shit. I did see a handful of comments from some women that were like, but she's telling the truth though. Like, we can't get mad at the truth, you know. But at the end of the day, the culture is overwhelmingly on, you know, that whole you can't just state the facts and have Black people accept them. They're going to attack you. They're going to kill the messenger. You know, they're going to come up with some sort of coping mechanism or feel goodery. And, you know, it's a problem. And so that's just talking about the weight. But as far as what Jay-Z said, I mean, it's just profoundly stupid and irresponsible. You know, I mean, more of this follow your passion bullshit. What if your passion doesn't make any money? Like, we got a community of people that are disproportionately in poverty, disproportionately in poor, which goes to all of the, you know, the rise in crime in the Black community, you know, that we see. And here you have a man that's worth, if not $1 million, if not $1 billion, just over $1 billion. And he has the audacity to get on the microphone, very influential, since all Black people embrace the streets. Like, sometimes I wonder if Jay-Z is the agent. Sometimes I wonder if he's just there. I mean, again, we saw him, you know, with that crazy white lady and eating the cakes with that in the shape of a body on some, you know, eyes wide shut type of shit. You know, on some Jeffrey Epstein spooky, you know, secret society organization, and he's over there rapping with the witch lady. Like, I don't even know what the fuck Jay-Z is on. But in terms of tackling and battle the system of white supremacy, and white people already got all the resources, and then Jay-Z's up there telling Black people, follow your passion and don't try to be wealthy and everything. Nobody running around like, what Jewish leaders do you see saying that to the Jewish community? You know what I'm saying? Like,
So let me pause it right there and salute to everybody that's coming in late. So just to be clear, this is a breakdown of Jay-Z. This breakdown is from about 5 years ago, but however, it's still relevant today, not just about Jay-Z, but you see that with many other celebrities, right? They've been sent out by their handlers and whatever people who are puppeteering them to try to get black people to not really think about wealth. Just follow your passion, right? Even some of these tiger moms, people may not want to be raised by a tiger mom, but those tiger parents, let's just say the tiger parents in general, right? They help steer their kids into a position of affluence and prominence in society. It's almost like a coach where they making you do 3 a days and you like, God damn, man, this coach getting on my nerve. But then when you succeed and win the championship, you still didn't want to do those 3 a day practices and get up super early to lift weights. But once you've won the championship or you've reached a certain level of success in your field of expertise or study, you believe it was gratifying and worth it, right? So what I'm saying is for some the kids or teenagers or adolescents, you're going to have to steer them towards something that will help them have a level of sustenance when it comes to taking care of themselves. They may love basket weaving. That may be your passion. And Jay-Z is saying, yeah, just follow your passion, right? He's telling people to not really think about wealth while he's wealthy. So he is part of the overseer gatekeeper class who doesn't mind many people being impoverished. He said he stopped going to like certain family dinners and stuff because it would turn into like people asking them for money. And people I think he said like one of his cousins, they was asking them for 3K and all this stuff. And I get it, right? Like you want to just come around the family. You don't want to hear, hey man, I got an idea that I could run by you and all this other type of stuff. But if your family is that broke where they have to ask you for 3,000, all this stuff, Jay-Z is the type that talks about all the Cristal that he popped, right? And those bottles cost more than 3,000. Then he gets irritated when his cousins or family members are asking them for money. I get it, right? Most people don't want their cousins and family members asking them for money. And you think, hey, I worked hard for this, so why should I have to get money? Like, bro, but it's a lot of stuff you didn't work hard for. No billionaire is working harder. They say on average, a billionaire, is like 10,000 times richer than a millionaire. So how much richer are they than just the average person? So you mean to tell me that Elon Musk, who's running around, all he's doing is delegating a lot of stuff. And then people try to say he's smart. No, I asked about working hard, right? And he's really not as smart as people try to make him out to be, right? Who is really out there working hard? Someone that is paving roads with a jackhammer, a steamroller, right? Or Elon Musk traveling the world first class, you know what I mean? Putting his seed in whatever young white chick that he can find. Who's truly working hard, right? Those people that if you look at the ice road truckers, those people driving on these treacherous roads, right? Are you really think Jeff Bezos is working harder than them? And then it switches into, well, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter, and he brings more value. So why are you trying to convince people that they just need to work harder, right? Why don't you tell them that it's not about what you know, it's about who you know? That's not meritocracy, that's nepotism. So start telling it plainly how it is. But yeah, Jay-Z, he might be agent like, right? Because why else would he come over here and try to tell us to not focus on wealth, right? When he quashed the Kaepernick protest, he said, we're way past kneeling. Okay, fine, we're way past kneeling, but what are we moving on to? He put up a scam to try to pretend as if he was some owner of Barclays. Yeah, man, it's going to be a black owned. And then you like, oh, man, that's great to see. There, there's no black NBA owners. There was Michael Jordan, but he got kicked out. But cool, people want to see Jay-Z as the Nets owner. Then you looked, and bro didn't even own like 1% of the team. And whatever stake he had, he sold. And on top of that, they used him as a face. And this was in the Epi pedophiles, right? The Epstein stooges said, hey, look, we'll use Jay-Z because Brooklyn is a lot of, black Americans over there, along with other groups of people now, right? Hey, we'll use Jay-Z so he can help us destabilize this community by plotting a basketball center there, gentrifying the neighborhood. So everything is going to go up. And if everything goes up, these poor people won't be afforded to live here. But hey, you got a basketball team with a black owner, and people's like, damn, man, we don't want to be displaced and gentrified out of our neighborhood, but at least we got a black basketball owner. And then you looked, and Jay-Z don't even own the Nets, right? So how pathetic is this? Is this misleading? Ultimate form of gaslighting. So I'm only just 3 minutes into this critique. I don't know if I'll play all of it. I know it's a good video. SWP, he usually does a lot of long form content. But yeah, Jay-Z, man, is he an agent?
That we see. And here you have a man that's worth, if not $1 million, if not $1 billion, just over $1 billion. And he has the audacity to get on the microphone, very influential since all black people embrace the streets.
And shout out Last Call. Oh, and shout out Tay Bay. And Last Call, working overtime. Yes, I am. I got to, man. And you know what? I got to get up early too. So I don't know how long I'll be on here, but y'all will definitely want to watch the playback of this one, right? So let's get back into it.
Sometimes I wonder if Jay-Z is an agent. Sometimes I wonder if he's just there. I mean, again, we saw him, with that crazy white lady and eating the cakes that in the shape of a body on some, eyes wide shut type of shit. On some Jeffrey Epstein spooky, secret society organization, and he's over there rapping with the witch lady. Like, I don't even know what the fuck Jay-Z is on. But in terms of tackling and battle the system of white supremacy, and white people already got all the resources, and then Jay-Z's up there telling black people, follow your passion and don't try to be wealthy and everything. Nobody running around like, what Jewish leaders do you see saying that to the Jewish community? You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to the freaking bankers in Zurich and Switzerland and shit like that, like, who talks like that? No, they think that they're supposed to run the world. They think that they're supposed to be in control. Like, that's the rhetoric that they push, right? But in the black community, it's just nonsense. It's stupidity. And again, like Malcolm X used to say, when the hell did all these entertainers become the spokesperson for the black community? Why aren't truly intelligent, articulate, educated, scholarly, know the facts, did the research people speaking, to black people? And the rest of black people, your average everyday run-of-the-mill black person, they eat it and gobble it up, and they think that, oh, this is so great and this is so wonderful because it makes them feel good despite their socioeconomic condition, which is going to lead them to nowhere, which is how things got.
And this is what both parties do, and especially celebrities. It's also, they know that many people are suffering from the diseases of despair, where they look around, they see that there's occupational segregation, right? We are attacked by every group. If there's a group of Filipinos, you're not going to get the job. They're going to hire a bunch of Filipinos. If there's a group of Mexicans, they're going to hire a group of Mexicans. So then you turn to the informal economy, and you've already been demonized as a criminal, thuggish ruffian. So there's mass incarceration. You do the crime, you do the time. Why don't you just comply, etc.? Then there's been propaganda, to say that, hey, you're degenerate, you don't raise your kids. So you have your own women turning on you. So you're getting hit from all angles, right? And all Jay-Z has to say is just follow your passion. Nigga, I was following my passion, but they didn't. People's passion may be to be an engineer. That's their passion, but they don't have enough money to go to school. So then even when they do go to school, they take out loans or something, right? Now they're knee high in debt to get a degree. And then they bring in a bunch of H-1B visas or undocumented people that they can pay under the table for cheaper. And guess what? You're still saddled with that debt. You need to pay off that debt. And so now you turn into another job for a field that you didn't even go to school with. And the more you start working in that field that you didn't go to school with, you become more acclimated and accustomed to it. And the field that you went to school with just becomes a paper document that you're indebted to. You're not even working in that field, but you still owe, right? But hey, follow your passion, right?
Worse from the 90s, starting with gangster rap. And how what are the fruits of that? Right? What are the fruits of all these rappers back in the 90s that used to be like, not my responsibility. You know what I'm saying? It's not my responsibility. Or they used to say, I'm not a role model. That was my favorite one. I'm not a role model.
Yeah, and he's making a good point, right? A lot of these rappers back in the day used to be like, man, don't look at me, man. I ain't no role model and shit. Now they get older and then they have kids and they don't want their kids thuggish and stuff. They don't want niggas to press their kids the way they was pressing other niggas' kids, right? I mean, one thing like T.I., salute to T.I., he's a legend in the game. And I do like how he has over the years, he has some issues with his family, but they came closer. But like T.I.'s son, grew up with a silver spoon, but because he's T.I.'s son and he has to live in the image of his daddy, who's considered, a renowned trapper, he has to try to act like, he's he with the activities, but it's like, come on, bro. It's a beautiful thing to be raised with a silver spoon. But because the street culture is so polarizing and so promoted and promulgated in our community, it's a standard that many people try to reach. It's a notch on the belt that many people want to reach, even if they're nerdy or grew into the burbs, right? And it's not just the men either, right? They have songs and tropes and things like why do good girls like bad guys? Not just in our community, right? That's why you'll see, maybe in the white community, they talk about, oh, she wants to get with a Chad, right? Chad is their version of a Pookie, right? A Chad is like a tatted up, maybe a biker, you know what I mean? A Hell's Angel, you know what I mean? But he's edgy. He's not like the normal Brad dude, right? And then some chicks want to get with the Jamal and the Tyrone, and they will prefer him over a Duncan Penderhughes, you know what I mean? But why though? So, it's a very nuanced and a complex discussion, right? But some people, one thing about the nerds, right? And I think more people should strive to be a nerd, but nerds are not monoliths, right? You don't need to be a dweebish doofus nerd that looks like Steve Urkel. You can still be the Stefan. You can be a nerdy Stefan. You should be a nerd with sauce, right? If you're a nerd, and let's just say, you're an incel or you're an introvert, you're not around a lot of people, but you are around yourself. Nerds can hit the gym too, right? Especially if you think you're going to get bullied. Don't just say, I'm a nerd and I got bullied. Nah, bruh, hit the weights. It's a bunch of nerds that will beat up street dudes. But it's because those nerds are training their body and training their mind to overcome them being picked on. Them being a nerd or a geek is not an obstacle for them. So it doesn't need to be an obstacle for you. And in fact, you should be promoting it. Yeah, I'm a geek and I'll knock you out. I'm a geek nigga and I'll knock your street nigga ass out. That's how it really should be. Geek nigga versus street nigga, and the geek nigga won. You know what I mean? Bro, if you're a geek and you scared, bro, get you some pepper spray. You feel me? Get you a firearm. You're a geek. You know what I mean? You don't have a record, bruh. You have the right to bear arms. So there should be more people leaning into their geek and nerdy nature. And shout out to all the blurs out there, the black nerds, right? Y'all should be leaning into that, because I've been saying this. Street niggas are the new nerds. It's a bunch of niggas running around acting like they hard. But what does that mean? Many of you niggas are nerds and you don't even know it, bruh. You live with your mama, or you're bumming off your baby mama. You're a homosexual. You standing on the corner, nigga. You're not flipping no weight. What is street or hard about that? Nigga, you sound like a game goofy green nerd. If it's between being a geek and having a some upward trajectory in your life, going to college, being educated or well-spoken, or being a CMD, a crusty, musty, dusty, who's often sagging your pants with possible shit stains, I'm cool, nigga. I'll be a geek. You feel me?
Right. The only person who's actually publicly talked about regretting what they contributed to is Ice Cube. That's the only person that's to black people. And the rest of black people, your average everyday run-of-the-mill black person, they eat it and gobble it up, and they think that, oh, this is so great and this is so wonderful because it makes them feel good despite their socioeconomic condition. You know, which is going to lead them to nowhere. You know, which is how things got worse from the 90s, starting with gangster rap. And how I mean, what are the fruits of that? Right? What are the fruits of all these rappers back in the 90s that used to be like, you know, not my responsibility. You know what I'm saying? It's not my responsibility. Or they used to say, I'm not a role model. That was my favorite one. I'm not a role model. Right? The only person who's actually publicly talked about regretting what they contributed to is Ice Cube. That's the only person that's publicly talked about it.
And shout out to Big Rig Slaps and FBA Tut Knees. What it do. And also, who else do we have up in here? Michael Cruz says, I got one of them in my building. What are you talking about, Michael Cruz? Just clarify. So shout out to the Tudneys family. Let's just get back into it.
You know, and he's come with the, you know, contract with Black America. But everybody else, you know, they're for shit. They're for shit. You know, they made all their money, you know, selling black people drug culture and street culture and all this other shit. And then now that they're prominent individuals and billionaires, like they're still up here, you know, preaching nonsense. They're still up there leading black people astray, even though we can definitely see all the damage that has been done, you know, since then. You know, the only difference between now and the 90s is instead of kids saying they want to be a basketball player or an athlete, you know, or a drug dealer, they're saying that they want to be a YouTube star or they want to make money off of social media. That's the only difference.
And now, since people say, hey, I want to be a YouTube star and make money off of TikTok, according to Jay-Z, a black billionaire, hey, man, just follow your passion. Well, there's a lot of young kids who got a passion to be a TikTok star because they seen Kai Cenat or I Show Speed. And out of 100 people, it's less than likely that definitely not 5 of them, maybe 1 to 2 of them will become a TikTok star out of the 100. So where does that leave the other 99 or 98? Just follow your passion, right? Like, come on, man. Do you think anyone, whatever city you're in right now, think about whatever the most prestigious school that you can send your kid to right now, right? And once they're getting their kids and the students prepared for college prep courses and stuff, do you think they're telling those kids, hey, just follow your passion? No, they're saying they're not saying in order to get into Harvard, Yale, or Dartmouth, you just got to follow your passion. No, there's a lot more specifics when it comes to what they need to do in terms of their academic discipline, the direction of where they need to take their lives in terms of whether it's volunteering, internship, etc. Why isn't Jay-Z telling people about this? Just follow your passion. Some people's passion is smoking weed. Some people's passion is having sex all day. Just follow your passion. So you telling people to be OnlyFans hoes? Chicks is on there getting pumped and dumped, smashed and thrashed from behind, from the bike, getting they coochie ate, getting jizzed on. That's their passion. So they should just follow that. And then what? Tell their kids to follow that? This is a billionaire, supposed to be a street dude who's reached a level of prominence in echelon, and this is all the stuff that he has to say. He sounds like he's borderline slow too with some of the stuff that he's saying too.
But black people have not gained any position at all since then. If anything, we've lost positions. Like I used to say all the time, right code.
Also, shout out, we got people from Canada. What's up, Sheldon the Blind Traveler? Salute to you. And are you legally blind? Shout out to all of the blind people. And do you read Braille? My sister actually is legally blind as well. So shout out to the people that have impaired vision. Salute to you, Sheldon. Let's get back into it.
Not rhymes. I mean, where are black people in STEM? You know, science, technology, engineering, and math. Nobody's saying that you got that going down those paths will make you rich and famous. You know what I mean? But they'll most definitely give you a better quality of life than working at Walmart or Amazon, or working at your local supermarket or any of the other bullshit jobs that majority of single mothers are out here working, trying to pay the bills.
So Sheldon says, completely blind, lost my eyesight 16 years ago from glaucoma. That's unfortunate, but glad that you're still here. I appreciate you being open and candid. And man, I don't even know how you found my channel, bro. I'm even more ecstatic that you was able to find it. So if I have a blind traveler from Canada that found my channel, the people who have the perfect eyesight, y'all can find this channel, y'all can find the like button, y'all can find the subscribe button, and y'all can find that notification bell. So salute to Sheldon the blind traveler. Hopefully you come around here more often, Sheldon. I will be doing a health summit panel pretty soon where I'm going to have some esteemed guests come through, and we're going to talk about how we all can get better outcomes. So it's really just going to be a virtual build, and hopefully you can come on there as well and discuss your condition and any tips that you have to help us achieve better health outcomes. So salute to Sheldon the blind traveler. Appreciate you. And I don't know if you've seen this movie. Okay, bam, we got a new subscriber. I appreciate you, bro. I don't know if you ever seen this movie. It's an old school movie. You just made me think about this movie. It's called, if I'm not mistaken, it's called Blind Fury. It's like an old, bro. Yeah. So this movie is from 1989, and there's like an old Vietnam veteran, and it's like action / comedy. It's like a OG. It has the actor Rutger Hauer in it. It has some kind of prominent actors in there. It's an old school. So y'all look that up. It's called Blind Fury. It's this blind man. He goes around smacking people, and it was pretty realistic. So this was in 1989 that the movie came out. Now, I didn't see it in 1989. I seen it after that, but the movie is pretty darn good. For some reason, you made me think about that, Sheldon. So let's just get back into it. And salute everybody that came through to watch this late night. It will definitely have replay value for you.
And here you got, I mean, where are black people in STEM? You know, science, technology, engineering, and math. Nobody's saying that you got that going down those paths will make you rich and famous. You know what I mean? But they'll most definitely give you a better quality of life than working at Walmart or Amazon, or working at your local supermarket or any of the other bullshit jobs that majority of single mothers are out here working, trying to pay the bills. And here you got Jay-Z talking about follow your passion, which typically equates to, oh, I like music, so I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm like, so that didn't change from what they used to say in the 90s. Oh, I like playing basketball. Oh, so I'm gonna be an NBA player. That didn't change. You know what I'm saying? Like when you tell people oh, follow your passion, black people interpret that as follow it is what the hell entertains you and what it is that you like. Which pretty much everybody's going to say that when it comes to what their passion is, it's always some shit that's enjoyable. Work is not enjoyable. I mean, don't get me wrong. You should do something that you actually have an interest in. But overall, this whole idea that you must absolutely positively love every aspect of work and your job, and that's the most important thing, regardless of how much they're paying you. No, the goal should be for you to go and get a high paying job. Yeah, it might suck. Truth be told, the jobs that pay the most are the ones that nobody wants to do. So again, it's a means to an end so that your family can live comfortably and all that stuff. You're not doing what Jay-Z does. You're not making music. You know what I mean? You're not doing what some of these other people are doing and putting their whole life out there with social. You're not doing any of that. The people that want to be rich and famous. And then again, they always make it look like it's all fun and games. Like there aren't hours and hours of rehearsal and all that. They just show you the glitz and glam, but they don't show you what actually goes into it. This nigga's talking bullshit, and just moving from there to the point that everybody's like, in other words, people get so embarrassed by talking bullshit that they just stop doing it because they get slammed for talking bullshit. Nipsey Hussle was the same way. Quiet as is kept. He was on that. It's not about the money and follow your passion type of bullshit. I did a video a couple years ago about that shit before he died. He was giving some interview, and I was like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?" And again, I think a lot of it comes from poverty. It may not even come from single mother homes, but I'm saying a lot of children that are in single mother homes are in poverty. But I'm saying it may not even come from single mother homes, as the root cause. It's just the poverty. I mean, because a lot of black people who are
So unfortunately, many of us who have grew up impoverished, you have a mindset where sometimes people get content with the conditions of being impoverished, or just them moving a little bit out of poverty seems like royalty, right? So there is something that people call the bigotry of low expectations. Now, I get it when people say, well, don't have a victim mindset and all this stuff. Well, if you've been abusing people, victimizing them, what type of mindset are they supposed to have, right? It's like someone sexually assaulting a girl, beating her up, physically abusing her, spiritually, emotionally abusing her, and then saying, don't have a victim mindset. Well, what type of mindset is she supposed to have? Every day you're physically assaulting her, tearing her down, calling her ugly, calling her fat, but she's just supposed to get over it, right? Well, maybe she would get over it if you get over calling her all these names, right? They say that black people have a victim mindset. Well, maybe they won't have that victim mindset when you stop victimizing them, right? So essentially what people are telling you is yeah, we're sexually assaulting you, but stop having a victim mindset about it. Just deal with the sexual assault. Well, as long as you're sexually assaulting someone, they're going to complain and speak out about it, right? As long as you're victimizing people, people are going to speak out about it. And we got Travion Phillips in the building. What it did it do? So yeah, man, I'm gonna play a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to transition into basically what I want to talk about. Is there anything? I mean, are there ethical billionaires? And then I do want to touch on the idolatry of this all, right? Because people seem to be idolizing these celebrities, but not only that, idolizing the jewels, right? I may drop some gems and then people be like, man, you don't even got 1,000 subs. But then you following somebody with 100,000 subs that can't even give you this level of acumen, intellect, and ism. If they come up over here and they try to debate me on any given topic, they would get smoked. So it's not about the it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. Over here, you're gonna get quality. Other places you get quantity. So yeah, they got bots in the chat. You got a bunch of people engaging in the chat, but they're engaging about frivolous stuff. I see many of these dating channels. It's a bunch of dweebs and doofuses trying to give you advice. These were incel dorks that never had money, never had women, but now they have money because a bunch of fellow incels keep donating to them. And then they're trying to give you game and talk to you about politics and all things that they don't have a lived experience on. They're running around saying nigga, nigga, nigga this and trying to act street, but there's no street niggas on there, bro, on many of the panels that you follow, right? So over here, you're going to get a different level of thought, different level of game. So I do appreciate y'all. Yeah, it's not just late bloomers. They late. It's funny because the parallel is they late bloomer new booties. How you gonna be a late blooming new booty? Like you're still green. You're greener than the Incredible Hulk. And that's fine, but just stop trying to act like you're on this level, bro. You just jumped off the porch in 2016, bro. I was in the soil, in the mud. Like Bane said, bro, you think the darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. By the time I seen the light, I was already a man. So I'm just saying, bro, what you call hell, we call home. I'm in Hell's Kitchen with an apron and a hairnet. It's just different, bro. And I'm not trying to glorify this. I'm just saying it just is what it is. I'm promoting more geeks and nerds, right? And I got I got something going on, it's called the Ghetto Geeks, and shout out to Street Media TV. He got the Urban Nerds. I had Ghetto Nerds, but since he had Urban Nerds, I just had the Ghetto Geeks, right? But yeah, we need to promote more geeks and nerds in the community, because there's a lot of cats that's nerds. It's just they're under the impression, no, I ain't no nerd, man. I ain't no square, nigga. Yes, you are, nigga. There's nothing street about you. There's nothing hard about you. And that's okay, because many of these street niggas are not hard. Many of these street niggas are dumb. You put a mic in front of them niggas and they start sounding like a tap dancing, step and fetch it raccoon. There's nothing hard about that. They'll be hard about what I'm saying. Nigga, where you at? Nigga, I'll pull up on you. Nigga, you pull up on me, and I'm telling you, nigga, it's going to be the last pull up that you ever do. And like this nigga said, Travion, new bootyism. That's what we're dealing with, bruh. Look, if you're a new booty, just sit back and take notes, bruh. Let the grown-ups handle it from here. I'm the ism that's in me and on me. You are the bootyism. So it's like, bruh, you still wet behind the ears and your breath is smelling like Similac? Just saying, man. When the triple OG ism is speaking, take notes. That's all we saying. Let's get back into it.
Poverty, again, in my what do you want to call it? What's the word that I'm looking for? In my guesstimation, they have a lot of coping mechanisms. They're very much in their feelings and shit. There's a, as Michael Jai White did an interview with Vlad, and he talked about this, about the beauty of poverty and how everybody comes together, because basically all you have is each other. So you kind of get in this sort of spiritual / magical mode. You're trying to find a greater existence, a purpose in life, and a greater existence, even though you have nothing, and so, you can be somewhat more introspective, right? As somebody who comes from poverty, right? Because you're not looking at outward material things. But then it gets to a point where that's just so goddamn crippling, where now you're so anti-money, anti-resources, that you try to convince yourself that that doesn't matter. Meanwhile, no other group is on that. Then when we get to comparing groups to group based on, acquisition of wealth and resources, then you end up with a situation where black people are what? Always at the bottom, thinking that somehow, again, because of our piousness, we are closer to God. We are closer to the Lord. We are better than others. We are more special because, we don't focus on the material wealth. It's like, is it you don't focus on the material wealth, or the fact that you haven't figured out the means to actually acquire it? Because you're so.
So that's a fair question. Is it that you haven't focused on it, or you haven't figured out the means to acquire it? And I think it's a median of a little bit of both, right? And this is where it's a kind of a fine line, because, in terms of the idolatry, you're not supposed to be idolizing and worshiping the money, the wealth, and all sorts of materialism. However, we live in a capitalist society, right? And as much as people want to say, I'm going to just let go and let God, that's not going to pay the bills, right? Today or yesterday was the first of the month, right? Typically you have until the third before they consider your rent or your mortgage housing payments late, right? So if you don't pay that on time, could you just have the faith of a mustard seed and just let go and let God? Or do you really got to get up, hustle, move, and shake and make something happen? So if it's ultimately going to come down to you, this is just, I never understood this, but I get why people say it. People say, I owe all the glory to God. But if all the glory was owed to God, then you could have just sat there and God would have made it happen. But you had to make it happen. And then when you get up and make it happen, where it's like, it wasn't me, it was God. So when you went and punched in and you worked a 10-hour shift, that was God doing it. Well, yeah, God is the creator, so he created me. So if he never created me, then I wouldn't have been able to do that 10-hour shift, right? Okay. So by that same logic, if you drink and drive drunk and crash into somebody, which actually happened right down the street, RIP to the person that it happened to, right? That was God's plan, right? God did that. Why are people always saying God did something positive, right? When you go through college, man, I owe that all to God. You make it to the NFL, that was just God right there. But when somebody gets deranged and they beat the crap out of their wife, wasn't that God? It's God's creation, right? Somebody goes on a deranged attack and starts shooting up people. Hey, that was God's creation at work. Oh, no, it wasn't God, because they had free will. So which one is it? So didn't you have free will to get up and go work that 10-hour shift? So I just don't get it with the whole all glory to God. No, because if you don't pay those bills, if you're not going to be hustling and continuously have a multiple streams of income, what future are you setting up for your kids? You can say God this and God that. Your kid has to go to a prom. How is God gonna help you? Your kid wants to go to the senior or the summer Disneyland trip. How is God gonna help you? Oh, if you just pray a little bit harder, then he'll help you. So if cats ain't on this follow your passion stuff, then they're on this, man, God got a plan. He wouldn't give you nothing you can't handle. So, okay, my pops, and this actually happened yesterday. This was, the anniversary, and this ain't no April Fool stuff. My pops was murdered, bro, on April Fool's Day. Not this past April Fool's Day. but several years ago, right? And people were giving me thoughts and prayers. Didn't bring them back. Didn't help anything. Didn't help my mom. Didn't help my family. So was that God's plan for my dad to get killed in front of my mom's? I'm just saying, right? Thoughts and prayers, right? You know what I mean? He ain't gonna give you nothing that you couldn't handle. So like God gave me that so I could handle it. Okay, the magical thinking. Like I said, this is unfortunately where we're at with it, right? But maybe if I would have read the Bible a little bit more harder, then my pops wouldn't have got killed, right? Possibly.
Somehow, again, because of our piousness, we are closer to God. We are closer to the Lord. We are better than others. We are more special because, we don't focus on the material wealth. It's like, is it you don't focus on the material wealth, or the fact that you haven't figured out the means to actually acquire it? Because you're so busy, basically blocking yourself with feel goodery and emotions and all these sort of coping mechanisms, that you end up with a situation where you um you basically talked yourself out of a comfortable existence. And for somebody to be sitting up there, for all these rappers to sit up there and they got millions and billions of dollars, and I mean they can just go out and just spend money however they want. I mean they are financially independent. Jay-Z could stop doing everything he's doing right now at this moment, and he will be good until he's 97 years old. Okay, that's how much wealth he has. The majority of black people out here living paycheck to paycheck, and they look up to Jay-Z, and Jay-Z got the audacity to go up there and say some dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so let me go ahead and pull up this video, and this will transition into the video of, are there any ethical billionaires? Now, this dude I'm not a supporter of, Teray, who I call Tether Ray, because he is a tether. However, he isn't a dumb dude. He's just a Democratic and corporate stooge and shield. So he'll be willing to throw the black community under the bus for the sake of the Democratic establishment. So that I don't like about him. However, I think this is a video where he will eviscerate the idea that there are ethical billionaires. Do you believe there are ethical billionaires? He says no. Let's see what some of the arguments he's making. Let's get into it.
Jay-Z is out of his mind. When I say there are no ethical billionaires, I am including Jay-Z, but that does not mean he's a bad person.
The kind of, I would say, commonplace public perception that someone would say all billionaires are bad, or no one should have $1 billion. Like, what's the tension in that?
I got to give you the honest answer.
Please.
There's no tension.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what you say.
But you can't become a billionaire without exploiting other people.
So I get it, right? They make these arguments. He asks, hey, what's the tension? You becoming a billionaire, and he's like, man, there's no tension because I don't give a F what people say. But if he don't care, then why is he doing this interview, right? Jay-Z could do interviews at any time, but when there's a drop that maybe he was implicated with this EpiPedo ring, then suddenly he wants to go on this media tour. Now it's not quite a tour because he just went to GQ and apparently he's leaked some statements of what he had to say, right? But I saw Oskino, who was a rapper, an artist from Philly. I don't know if he still raps, but he talked about why didn't Jay-Z go on Memphis Bleak podcast? Memphis Bleak, who has a podcast called Rock Solid, because he was part of Rock La Familia, Rockaware, Rockefeller Records, right? So he has a Rock Solid podcast, and he's been nothing but loyal to Jay-Z. Why didn't Jay-Z go on his podcast or go on any you know, like lower echelon podcasts and help build them up. He goes to GQ and he's talking to some melanated person. So it's like, oh, look, well, you know, he could be talking to a non-black person. First of all, we don't even know if that person, we don't know what his ethnic background is. We're not just going to assume what that person is, right? So he goes to GQ to talk to a melanated person, but he could have just went to talk to Memphis Bleak. He's Jay-Z. He could have picked anybody, right? All of those people were just giving him softball questions anyways. It's not like they were any hard-hitting questions. Those questions were set up as alley-oops to kind of make him look good, right? This is like what a publicist was do. Here, get out of ahead of it, and we're gonna appear like we're asking some tough questions. That question wasn't a tough question. The dude is over ha and kikiing with him. That wasn't funny. He's saying he don't give a fuck, but then also the same thing too, right? So if I start crapping on Jay-Z, right, he's already said he don't give a fuck about what we say, so he shouldn't care about people saying, hey, look, man, we heard you was implicated in that pedo thing. You're a pedo sympathizer. He shouldn't care if someone calls him that, right? Because he don't have to listen to what we have to say because he's a billionaire. That's essentially what he's saying. And then if you're a fan or supporter of him, like, he said he don't care what you got to say, but you're supposed to care what he has to say. Really think about that. You're supporting and worshiping him, who a person who said he don't give a fuck about what you got to say, but you do care about what he has to say. Most of what he's saying is babbling incoherently. Notice how these cats always, they either do monologues or they do these interviews where they sit with someone who's not going to challenge them. What is hard about that? What is tough about that? What is intellectually formidable about that? If you're scared, go to church, bro. And these people are scared. They scared to read books. They're scared to debate. They're scared to have a discussion when someone just inquires about, hey, what is your motive with this, right? Or, hey, remember you said that? Do you still hold this view? I mean, what is there to really respect about that, right? These niggas will say they survived the streets, the Marcy projects. Okay, nigga, you survived shootouts and crackheads and stabbings and shootings, but you can't even sit down with someone who's going to ask you a tough question. You can dodge a bullet, but you can't dodge a tough question. I'm just saying, man, sounds like pretty fragile to me.
I'll show you how Jay-Z is exploiting lots of people, even though he may not even realize it. This is Torre Show News, independent news, where we can tell you what's really going on. Please like, subscribe, and comment on whether or not you think there should be no billionaires. Look, as far as music goes, to me, Jay-Z is maybe the greatest rapper of all time. In his music, he usually keeps it real. But when GQ starts asking Jay about being a billionaire, he's dipping in.
Define keeping it real. And do y'all concur with that? Is Jay-Z the greatest of all time? Arguably, some would say. I don't know if I can give him that title. I don't know. He's in the discussion. I just don't know if I can give it to him.
Dodging the questions like Floyd Money Mayweather slipping punches. First, Jay switches the conversation away from his wealth and over to his personal morality.
Your morality defines who you are. It's not what you've attained.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44. Guys, Nina just built an app.
It's not a dollar amount that changes you. I don't believe in the idea that someone has a certain amount of money. It defines their personality.
We're not saying.
Bro, you can't be serious. Did y'all hear what this nigga said? Come on, Jay-Z. Bruh.
What? Hope, please.
Nigga, please.
Hope. Nigga, what?
Nigga.
Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
What?
He said it's not about the money, it's about morality. I'm gonna rewind that back. Like, come on, bruh. Like, what is he even talking about, bro? And all of these billionaires, bro, where are their morality? Many of those people are seeing kids in sweatshops just to make an extra buck. What is moral about that? That's immoral, right? But because they made a lot of money and donated some turkeys on Thanksgiving, then you're supposed to overlook that they made all of these historic profits at the expense of other people. And then he's want to talk to you about morality. And this is what I call nice supremacy or polite supremacy, where people try to politely subjugate and dominate you. And they like, bro, why are you tripping, right? So this dude will make $1 billion and then they'll come and they'll be like, dude, I donated $2,000 to the Little League game. That's more than you've ever donated. That's the biggest donation this team has ever got. So it sounds, well, damn, he did donate 2,000. The dude is a fucking billionaire, bro. $2,000 is like $2 to him. But then it's going to be framed in the context of, hey, you didn't donate 2,000, so it's relative towards how many other people donated, but it should be relative towards the insane amounts of wealth that you have. But these are the benevolent, nice supremacy games that people try to play. There'll be some NIMBYs not in my backyard that red line black people. No niggers allowed, right? They don't want any black people around, right? But then if they say, I saw a black homeless person and I gave him a sandwich from Chick-fil-A and those sandwiches aren't cheap, so there's no way I could be racist. Like, you found a non-threatening homeless black dude and gave him a sandwich. But if that same black dude was in your neighborhood, you would call the cops on him, Karen. You would go from Caroline to Karen. This is a form of nice supremacy. I'm being nice. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hate black people. I just don't want those niggers. I mean, I just don't want those people living by me, but I love them. I used to love Michael Jackson, right? It's like, okay, nice supremacy.
A certain amount of money, it defines their personality.
We're not saying you're a bad person because you're a billionaire, but you can't become a billionaire without benefiting from other people performing a task for very little money many, many times. Jay-Z has amassed over $2.5 billion. And the fact that he's extracting so much value out of capitalism means many others are poor. If he's getting that much money from their work, then they cannot be getting much from their work. Let's look at Jay's portfolio.
Not taking advantage of people, not taking advantage of a system, not creating tax loopholes.
His number one revenue source is his liquor business, Douce,
So I believe he's about to break it down, but come on, bro, just stop lying. Any person that's a billionaire, you become a billionaire. And I'm not just saying it's only billionaires, millionaires too. But since the topic is billionaires, you become a billionaire by exploiting people. Now, you can say that you've helped many people on the way, but you've exploited more people than you helped. So to try to frame it as, hey, we're not taking advantage of people. Yes, you are. There shouldn't be any billionaires. It literally shouldn't be. These people, they try to frame it as, hey, look, when billionaires die, they give a lot of their money away. Well, if they're going to give a lot of it away anyways, why do we have to wait for Bill Gates to die for him to start giving his money away? Then you start looking, oh, look at all these charities. And I'm like, hold on, man. Those are some in-family charities, right? So all they're doing is just money laundering and recycling the money, right? If these people are going to be so great and benevolent, I'm just going to give all my money away. Okay, just give it away now. You're damn near 70 or 80 years old. What, you got to wait till you croak to give the money away? By the time you can give the money away to somebody now and get their life started, instead, Bill Gates and all these people want to wait until they die, and then we'll give it away to some institution, and then we'll donate it to Harvard or Yale or something like that. How about you just give it to the people directly, right? But, if they were really benevolent, right, they'll say there's no such thing as a handout, but when we die, we're going to hand out money. But I thought you said it was no such thing as a handout. Which one is it? If you're going to wait till you die to hand out money, won't you just hand out money while you're alive? But these are the people that people buy into, right? Because they bought a turkey on Thanksgiving. That's the least they can do. They're hoarding billions and billions of dollars, but they spent $100 on a turkey, and you think that somehow, like, oh, well, maybe billionaires aren't bad after all. No, they really don't need to exist. Most of those billionaires are super old. Bloomberg, Bezos, and all this other stuff, right? How long do they really have? Do you think Elon Musk is going to live to spend hundreds of billions of dollars? No, but they're saying that he's on pace to become a trillionaire if he haven't already. I mean, what value does society have by one person become a trillionaire, right? Would you even want to aspire to that? Like, why? You got to be some kind of sick, twisted, demented person to even be a trillionaire, right? To even want to be a trillionaire, knowing that just one, if you're a trillionaire, one person could end world poverty, but it's framed as no handouts, no such thing as a free lunch, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But that's not what you did. You can't tell me to pull myself up by my bootstraps, but every time you're to the government begging for grants, goodies, giveaways, and guarantees, while at the same time saying you niggers don't deserve reparations, but somehow Elon Musk deserves billions in subsidies from the government, the same government that he's telling you to not beg. Don't ask the government for anything. Notice all these people say that they want a small government, except for when it's time to get handouts and tax write-offs. Then Elon doesn't want a small government. Then he wants a big government to keep giving him all of these SpaceX and subsidies, right? They've basically said, hey, NASA, we don't need you. We'll just subsidize Elon Musk, a South African immigrant. You think he has the best interest of America in mind, or does he have the best interest of Elon Musk? Elon Musk running around like an irresponsible baby daddy, spreading his seed everywhere out of wedlock. No one cares about Elon Musk kids out of wedlock. They're saying, oh, well, he has the money. But hold on, I thought the issue was out of wedlock. It's a bunch of black athletes that have the money and they have kids out of wedlock, and it turns into that's black culture. Well, whose culture is it for Elon Musk to be slanging his Johnson around, impregnating a bunch of conservative bimbos and not marrying them? He has he has literally like a whole football team out of wedlock. No one is talking about that. Who raised Elon Musk? Oh yeah, I forgot, his bigoted racist daddy, right? Whose culture is that for Elon Musk to be running around slanging his thing irresponsibly? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Luxury cognac. Making cognac requires a lot of agricultural workers, like grape harvesters. Revenue source is his liquor business, Douce, a luxury cognac. Making cognac requires a lot of agricultural workers, like grape harvesters, distillery workers, barrel coopers. They all get near minimum wage to produce bottles that sell for like $200 each. Jay made $750 million from Douce because the workers performed minimum wage labor over and over, but they do not benefit from the massive markup on their work.
Not taking advantage of people.
This is not illegal. It's also not some example of Jay working harder than others. He rises by walking on the backs of poorly paid workers. Jay-Z didn't pick a single grape, but he collected several hundreds of millions, while the actual labor that goes into every bottle is done by workers who will never see a fraction of that.
Not taking advantage of people.
That's the sort of labor exploitation that leads us to say there are no ethical billionaires. Another example, one of Jay's biggest scores ever was investing in Uber. He put in $2 million and it grew to $70 million. Amazing investment. But how did Uber become so valuable? Because many Uber drivers make less than the minimum wage, and Uber might take 25 to 50% of what they make from each ride.
Not taking advantage of people.
So
Yeah, Uber, when it first started out, Uber used to be the lick. Now that's why when you get an Uber driver, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be an immigrant or someone with the immigrant background. Now, I know people like to say they're just doing the jobs that no one wants to do. You mean to tell me no Americans would drive Uber or Lyft? There were no American native born citizens that weren't driving Uber. They were driving Uber, and then Uber did some kind of nefarious chicanery. And then on top of that, of course, with both parties flooding the border with millions and millions of immigrants out here, especially in California, the belly of the beast for immigration, they were helping non-citizens get fast tracked to be able to drive Uber. And there was a huge scandal, obviously, with driver's license things. And then a lot of the rental car companies, they start renting out companies or renting out cars, or they would have specific companies that was designed to give like undocumented, illegal, unauthorized people either cars or e-bikes and stuff so that they can do their deliveries, their Uber Eats, their DoorDash, etc. It wasn't that nobody else would do it. It's just some Americans was like, hey, look, we know the cost of living plus the cost of maintenance and all the things on our car. It's not worth it for us to do this. We're going to turn towards something that's more lucrative, whether it be the informal economy or working 2 or 3 jobs or something like that, right? But an immigrant that's coming from an underdeveloped country, whatever they get is a blessing to them. If they're getting paid under the table, if they're being given some fraudulent driver's license and identification, but they're able to make money, which they can send back. Let's just say you send a bunch of money back and then Trump cracks down and deports them. Okay, they've already sent enough money back to at least live comfortably for, fill in the blank on the period of time. So it's still going to be a win-win for them, for many people in that regard.
Uber is a multi-billion-dollar a year company where most of its employees who do most of the work are poor. And Uber has spent millions to lobby for legislation to keep their drivers classified as contractors, denying them minimum wage protections, overtime, and health benefits. Jay-Z, as a big Uber investor, is benefiting from the mass exploitation of Uber's thousands of drivers.
Not taking advantage of people.
He's not a bad person. He didn't make those drivers drive for minimum wage, but he is a representation of capitalism's failures. When pressed, Jay the billionaire quickly leapt to a straw man argument and said, well, what about millionaires? What about near millionaires?
If it's a cutoff, if it's like all millionaires are bad, okay. So at 999,000, I'm good. It can't be that way, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Bro, we're not talking about millionaires. We're talking about something much higher than that. The economic gravity of being a billionaire is incredibly different than being a millionaire. There's 24 million millionaires in America. There's about 900 billionaires in America. Each of them holds a gigantic share of the economy. Millionaires don't set wages for hundreds of thousands of workers. They don't own media companies that determine the messages we hear. They don't have the lobbying power to rewrite tax law. Billionaire wealth isn't just more, it's a qualitatively different kind of power over other people's lives. A millionaire's wealth doesn't have a gravitational pull on the economy or the democracy.
So he's saying this because he's of that millionaire class. So he's trying to the millionaires. Yeah, the millionaires are still part of the 1%. And I'm in Cali and we just had an earthquake. And actually, I'm having an earthquake right now. So if y'all in the Bay right now, let me know if y'all just felt that earthquake. I'm going to try to see if it registered on the Richter scale. But if this stream goes out, it's because we just had an earthquake. I have to breaking news, there was an earthquake out here. I had some people from down south, they was like, oh, I'll never move to Cali, y'all got earthquakes. It's like we have earthquakes damn near all the time, but not all of them are the magnitude to like destroy something. My TV is still mounted, so that's good, but I have to check. Yeah, it was just a little bit earthquake, so hopefully no power goes out. But yeah, Teray is of the millionaire class, which is still the 1%. So they try to frame it as these millionaires are kind of like victims and like we're just beholding to the big bad billionaires. Well, it's you millionaires who empower the billionaires, because you guys hope to one day that you won't just have to be a lowly millionaire, right? Maybe one day I'll be a millionaire. Think about how much money a millionaire has. Then think about how much someone with 5 million has. Then think about someone with 20 million. Then think about somebody with 40 million. Then think about someone with 50 million, then 100 million, then 200 million, then 500 million, then 700 million, then all the way up to a billion. But you're supposed to look at the person with 2 million as like, yeah, man, that, they're not on the same level as a billionaire. Why? I mean, they're kind of in the same vicinity. They're in any place that a billionaire could get in, somebody that has $3 to $5 million will get in there too, most likely, right? There are some secret societies and secret clubs and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I get it, right? He's trying to cape for his class, but yeah, there's a lot of millionaires that are worse than the billionaires because they help enable them, so they help facilitate the inequality.
Billionaire wealth isn't just more, it's a qualitatively different kind of power over other people's lives. A millionaire's wealth doesn't have a gravitational pull on the economy or the democracy. A billionaire's does. And yes, it's the same if you've got 999 million. He's a billionaire because he invests in businesses that underpay the laborers who do most of the work. That's exploitation. Yes, this is legal, but that's part of the problem. Capitalism is legal and it's inherently corrupt and exploitative, even when you're talking about someone who came from nothing.
The system is set up against me, against us, but I'm talking about my specific struggle.
Yeah.
Everything was against me. My talent pushed against all the headwind.
Yeah, he succeeded against the odds, but he didn't become a billionaire from music. His music gave him the capital he needed to start doing things like investing $2 million in Uber. That was a great investment, but it was one that very few people had access to. 99.9% of America never had a chance to invest in early Uber. When Jay starts getting access to
So that's the thing too. So it's framed as, hey man, he just worked harder, that's why he's a billionaire. No, he had the money and capital and resources to invest in something that blew up. Then it's like, well, bro, you got to get the resources. It just turns into that. It's like, come on, bro, are you serious, man? So what did he do that was so great, right? He took a gamble, hey, I believe this company is going to blow up. We know that the government and Congress is the one picking the winners and losers. There's a bunch of companies that are actually way better than Tesla's. They say that China is our enemy, right? But like we get all this other stuff from China, but we don't want to get the China electric vehicles. They got some Chinese electric vehicles that look stylish. Many look better than Teslas and they perform better than Teslas. And some of them are between like some 10 to 13K for an EV vehicle. You ain't gonna find no Tesla for that price. So the US helped Elon corner the market by picking winners and losers. Wasn't meritocracy, wasn't about working harder. It said, hey, we like this company. We're going to pick this company and then we're going to invest in this company. Insider trading, right? Plutocrating.
9.9% of America never had a chance to invest in early Uber. When Jay starts getting access to incredible deals like investing in Fanatics, SpaceX, Sweet Green, that really
And he wants to frame it as, hey, I invested in it. You could have done it too. It's like, bro, I didn't have 2 million to drop in there. Well, you need to get 2 million. It's like, okay, by like rubbing and schmoozing it with, the micro hats and, other people that like oil you up and buck break you. Nah, I'm good. If that's what it takes, to go into a kooky cabal where people just like fondle you and do sorts of weird sex rituals, I'm good.
supercharged his wealth. Access to those kinds of opportunities is incredibly hard to get. So, is it really about his talents, like he built a better mousetrap or a scrub daddy that everyone wanted? It's not truly a story of, hey, I sold a lot of records and I'm a billionaire. It's more like because I had wealth and good relationships, I was allowed to participate in certain deals that ballooned my wealth. Does it help society to have so many billionaires, as in so few people with so much?
With that success, I've done things with my reach.
What if you could make a song using only your voice? Let's start with the drums.
That I wanted to do that was helpful for a lot of people.
I mean, theoretically, sure, you could, but the existence of billionaires means there must be many poor people. And there's no amount of good that could equal out.
None of the Black Panthers were millionaires or billionaires, and they helped more people than Jay-Z. So he's over here saying, I'm a billionaire and I can help people with my money. Oh, okay. Why haven't he recreated what the Black Panthers did? He has more money than all of the Black Panthers combined, but he said he's helping, and he said he's helping people. But what people? He means he's helping everybody, and that's fine, right? All lives matter. So stop trying to pretend like you're a spokesperson for Black people, because he's helping Asians, Jewish, Indians, illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, right? In the name of him being a Black man. Yeah, he's a Black man that's not helping Black people. He's helping people. You heard what he said.
Hoarding so much wealth that many others are impoverished. But Jay means if I have a lot, I can give a lot. Amazing. What's your example of I'm a billionaire who gave a lot to society and now we have this? Did you use your wealth to address some massive societal problem and change America? I mean, a billionaire could end child hunger in America. A billionaire could.
So they could do all that stuff. And remember, Jay-Z said, judge him by his morality. So billionaires could end child hunger. All of the schools where they say, they're failing. Okay, yeah, but you guys could single-handedly fund this school and ensure that the school has a better learning facility and apparatus, right? They could single-handedly make sure that there's recreational centers where these kids could have some place to go, so they're not just roaming the streets and getting into mischievous behavior, right? One single billionaire could do that, right? But why should I have to do that? Okay, well then just stop complaining about society. If people want to run amok in society, carjacking people, robbing, stealing, pillaging, and plundering, why should I care? Billionaires are doing the same thing. If they go overseas and they see a land and they want to colonize it, they will do that, i.e. the Dole Pineapple Company in Hawaii, i.e. what they were doing, believe with Coca-Cola. So it's been some deep brutality going on when it comes with the billionaire and the oligarchic ruling class. Their violence knows no bounds. So they want you talking about Black on Black crime in Chicago and all this stuff, but their policies, one thug in Chicago may do a drive-by and hit one person, right? But they'll have an AI data center that's poisoning hundreds of thousands of people, leading them to an early grave, having them get cancer, poisonous water, increasing their PG&E and power bill. Which one is really worse? Some thug who committed a heinous crime that's being locked up and held accountable, or someone poisoning thousands of people and there's no repercussions or reprimand for it, right? It's not even considered a crime. But people like Jay-Z want to talk about morality. What is moral about putting an AI poisonous center in a predominantly black neighborhood, intentionally avoiding the white neighborhoods because they said we're NIMBYs and not in my backyard, right? Fine, we'll go put it where the niggas are and poison them. What is moral about that? What is moral about lynching people? What is moral about racial massacres and burning towns down? And these are the same people that want you to convince you this is a white Christian nation. Which white Christians? The white Christians that had a Bible when they were out lynching and calling black people niggers? Or the white Christians that were abolitionists? The white Christians that were slave owners? The white Christian who beat Emmett Till? Which white Christians are we talking about, right?
Could eradicate some cancer. A billionaire could make sure Flint has clean water. Jay-Z didn't do any of that, but it sure makes people feel good to see a black billionaire. Billionaire could eradicate some cancer. A billionaire could make sure Flint has clean water. Jay-Z didn't do any of that, but it sure makes people feel good to see a black billionaire. What kind of return is that? Billionaires could make the world better, but how often do they actually do that? Bill Gates has attacked malaria in Africa. Oprah built a school in Africa. But we have 900 billionaires in America. Have they done much to eradicate America's problems?
And with the system that we have, what are you going to do?
Again, I don't blame.
And once again, you have to question that as well. Oh my God, look at Oprah. She's giving back to the people. What people? Oh, the African people that she built a school in. And you can't get mad because, you know, you're black and she helped black people, but it was just on another continent in a different country. So how does that help Americans again? Bill Gates, all these people, they want to adopt these precious kids, but only if they're African, Haitian, or Caribbean or something like that, right? They talk about schools failing in America. Yeah, your school is failing in America. And the way we'll help a school that's failing in America, we'll go build a school in Somalia. Huh? That means that the school here is going to still be failing. Yeah, the school still will be failing here, but at least you can rest assured to know that Kenya has a new school. Okay. They have young black kids, right? Hey, look, man, these young black kids, they're good kids. They're fleeing gang violence, right? They're seeking a better life. Shut up, nigger. Okay. Now you got people from Tijuana and Bogota. They're fleeing gang violence. Okay, we got to roll out the red carpet for them because this is a nation of immigrants built by immigrants and we're all immigrants. So let me roll out the red carpet. But you just told the black kids to pull themselves up by your bootstrap. And the other kids, suddenly there were millions and millions of NGO money to just dole out to these families. Interesting. The great replacement strategy. Not a theory.
I blame you personally. I blame the system. Yes, this is the system we have. And the problem is capitalism. Because of capitalism, a tiny number of people have an incredible amount of wealth, while half the world's population lives in poverty. Those billionaires are able to thrive precisely because there are so many people who are willing to work for a tiny amount. Do you really think billionaires work hard and their workers don't? Many billionaires work far less hard than their workers. Look, guys, there are no ethical billionaires, not because they're bad people, but because you can't acquire that much of the economy without exploiting someone else's labor. You can't grab that much wealth without forcing many others to be poor. And that's not the way a society should be run. Thank you so much for watching.
I concur. That's not how society should be run, but that's how society will continue to be ran. So let me just pull up and I'm going to get ready to shut her down within probably like the next 20 minutes or so. So let's just have a quick thought experiment, right? So why do some people argue there's no such thing as ethical billionaires? First of all, y'all let me know what y'all think. Is there such thing as an ethical billionaire? Well, number one, billionaire wealth depends on structural inequality, right? So someone has to be at the bottom end, on the losing end, when it comes to this capitalist system. And especially if you want to become a billionaire, right? People need to be underpaid, people need to be exploited. There is going to be some level of moral corruption going on for someone to get $1 billion. There's no way to get $1 billion fairly, right? It just doesn't exist unless y'all can tell me an instance that you know of, but I've yet to hear one. Now, a common claim is that amassing $1 billion requires benefiting from systems that underpay labor relative to the value they create, which is why you see an influx of undocumented immigrants who are being paid under the table, and the ones that are have the TPS, temporary protected status, they're still being paid at lower wages than an American citizen would be. So I don't know why people who claim to love immigrants and claim to want to fight for civil rights, why would you want more people coming in illegally so that they can be exploited? And if you say, hey, you want them to have a pathway to citizenship, well, the answer is to not have the borders open for them to just come in illegally. Then let's help stabilize their country so they won't have to flee. And if they do still want to immigrate after, then there should be legal pathway to citizenship so we don't have to deal with the illegal immigration aspect of it. Because if they're not under this unauthorized illegal status, then they will have the rights to be paid as American citizens rather than as indentured servant wages. So they typically externalize costs, environmental, social, or political, especially with the environmental, like I said, with the AI centers. You know which neighborhoods they put them in, not in the Lily W neighborhoods. So in the view of this process, the process of becoming a billionaire is inseparable from exploitation, even if the individual is personally kind or generous. Nice supremacy. Hey, I'm nice. Even though I'm buying up all of the houses on your block, right? I did it with a smile. And remember, I always send you a fine turkey on Thanksgiving. But now there's no such thing as generational wealth because the billionaire bought up all the houses, and most of the houses they rent out with Airbnb. But hey, they did it with a smile on their face. So they're nice, No one creates $1 billion of value alone. Workers, public infrastructure, scientific research, and social stability all contribute to wealth creation. Yet the billionaire captures a disproportionate share of the values. This sounds like pimping, right? If a pimp did this, they would say, hey, he's pandering and he needs to be locked up. Billionaires do this. It's like, hey, man, don't hate the player, hate the game. Say the same thing to the pimp. If he spit that ism and his gang was so tight and he got the chick to break her bread, PIMP, put it in my pocket, AOB, all on a biddy boo, right? Why are you mad at the pimp? Don't hate the player, hate the ism. You know what I mean? So, yet the billionaire captures a disproportionate share of the value. So, the ethical critique is about distribution, not personal morality, which Jay-Z is trying to make it, right? The moral argument based on outcomes. If someone has a billy while others lack basic necessities, the mere possession of that wealth is considered unethical, right? It's like if you're already full, people haven't ate it all, and then you have a large, deep crust pepperoni pizza with all the fixings on it, right? And it's like, hey, yeah, you shouldn't be obligated to give anyone that pizza. But it's like, bro, you're looking over in the corner at someone starving and you're already full. Plus, you have the resources to cook another pizza, buy another pizza, make another pizza. Plus, you're already full. You're probably going to waste that pizza anyways. But you just don't want people getting comfortable with receiving things from you. So you'd rather let that food go to waste. It happens all the time. I worked in a steakhouse. If somebody's out there, you can't even give them the food. You just got to throw it in the garbage. If they dumpster dive, it is what it is. But you could call the cops and say they're trespassing. But that's how people are. They'd rather waste the money. They'd rather burn the money than it go to someone else, which is what corporations do every year. They talk about, Black Friday and the new TVs. What happens with all those old TVs? In order to usher in the new TVs, they only have so much shelf space. Many of those old TVs get shattered, broken, and thrown in the landfill. Waste, you know what I mean? Just like people do with their food and their money, because they think helping people is unethical rather than them amassing all that wealth and ignoring people. That's where the immoral, unethical behavior really comes in. So this is often tied to utilitarian or egalitarian ethics. Even if the billionaire donates generously, the scale of inequality itself is seen as morally problematic. So what I was saying earlier is that, like, if there's a billionaire and then they donate $10,000 to the football team, oh my God, that's a massive amount. This is the biggest donation we've had in history. Yeah, but it's $10,000 relative to a billionaire. That's $10 for them. Now, it does mean a lot for the organization or institution, but it becomes all relative. And now, because this person donated not even a fraction of their wealth, they donated like a penny of their wealth. Now they're seen as this benevolent, heroic figure. But this is how they're using their money and resources, which was built on the back of others, to use to subjugate and distort. Billionaires can distort democracy. Large concentrations of wealth can influence elections, public policy, media, philanthropy, which can shape public priorities without democratic input. Critics argue that this undermines political equality, which itself is an ethical harm. Now, others argue billionaires can exist. The wealth can be created without exploitation. Well, show me some examples. Maybe it can, but it doesn't happen that way. So supporters argue that innovation can generate new value rather than redistribute existing value. Some industries, software, biotech, entertainment, scale massively without proportionally scaling labor exploitation. Voluntary market exchanges can be mutually beneficial. Mutually beneficial for who, though? And this framing, becoming a billionaire is a byproduct of creating something people value. Well, people value sex and, scantily dressed women. So that's why people support OnlyFans. But are you going to become a billionaire by supporting that? So this is a little bit of vagary right here. Voluntary market exchanges, innovation can generate new value. Yeah, you don't need billionaires to generate new value. It's a bunch of poor kids in the hood, and you have enough innovation from there, whether it be the music genres, the art forms. Those were created by poor people, not billionaires. And most of the times the billionaires don't always innovate. They find some hungry person to innovate, and then they buy it and say, hey, it's my company now. So is that innovation or investment? So billionaires often rely on risk taking and vision. Some argue that founders take enormous personal and financial risk, i.e. Jay-Z, right? He took an enormous risk by donating $2 million into Uber, but he had the $2 million to donate or to invest. And even if he had flopped on that investment, he had disposable income so that the 2 million wouldn't have made or broke him. They create jobs, industries, and technologies. Their wealth reflects the value they unlocked, right? This is what they claim. They say their wealth reflects the value they unlocked, but okay, so if a CEO has 3 yachts, it's just because that's the value they unlocked? Nah, I wouldn't agree with that. So from this perspective, the ethical question is about how they behave, not how much they have. So this goes to the polite supremacy again. They can be a billionaire, but if they behave nicely and politely, hey, you can't call them a bigot or a mean billionaire or someone that's trying to exploit the people. Look how nice they are. They always pay for dinner and they always pay for drinks and stuff like that. Now, how about you pay for a house? You got enough money to pay for a house for me? Forget the drinks. Then it turned into, well, no, I worked hard for this. No, you didn't. Other people worked hard. You exploited them. And, maybe you worked smart. You worked efficiently. I'll give you that. But hard. And I'm not going to say that it was completely easy and that you didn't work hard. I'm saying you didn't work harder than the people who provided the value for the company, right? Imagine like whether it's Walmart, right? The CEO of Walmart is probably on an island sipping pina coladas. Are they really working harder than the person that's out in the heat, collecting all the carts, dealing with these crazy people that's stealing and doing returns and all this other type of stuff? Now they'll try to frame this as an entry level, rudimentary work on the job, but we're talking about the arduousness of the tasks, right? What is worse, you sitting in an AC office or in 100-degree weather? You got to go get the carts, or you got to go do a carry out, or you got to restock like 20 pallets. What is harder, telling other people to do something or what I just described? Now, philanthropy can be ethically meaningful. Many billionaires donate large portions of their wealth, fund medical research, climate initiatives, education, and global health, sign pledges to give away most of their fortune. A lot of this stuff is always tax write-offs, goodies, giveaways, guarantees, subsidies. They sign pledges to give away most of their fortune, which, like I already addressed, is pretty much moronic to me, because they always talk about they don't support handouts, but then they say when they pass, we're pledging to give handouts. Okay, why are you waiting until you die? Just give the handouts now, you know what I mean? But critics say philanthropy doesn't erase structural issues, but supporters argue it demonstrates ethical intent and impact. So then this goes with the ethical intent and impact. So they can say, hey, I intend to make the world a better place. And I'll do that by putting a smile on people's faces, right? So it sounds like, oh, damn, well, you want to see people smiling. We do want to make the world a better place. But this is what I call buzzwords and bumper stickers, right? It's a kind of feel-goodery that doesn't really mean anything. Like Obama saying, yes, we can, right? And then when you start asking them about reparations and any specific thing, no, we can't. I'm not the president of Black America. I'm the president of all America. It's like, but I thought you just said, yes, we can. Oh, no, we can't. You know what I mean? So people use these buzzwords and bumper stickers until, it doesn't no longer suit them. But ethics isn't about actions. Ethics is about actions, not net worth. This view rejects the idea that a number can be inherently unethical. Instead, it asks, did the person treat workers fairly? Did they follow the law? Did they contribute to society? Under this lens, ethical billionaires are possible. So now they say, hey, did they follow the law? So meaning, hey, we didn't break any laws, yeah, but it was immoral. Did they treat the workers fairly? Defined fairly, because if they're nice to the workers but they're underpaying them and they're not paying them their worth, is that fairly? And did they contribute positively to society? Well, I've seen homeless people contribute positively to society. That's a little bit vague, but I get it. So the debate ultimately hinges on what you think ethics are about. The ethical focus, system and outcomes. The likely conclusion, no ethical billionaires. Ethical focus, individual actions and intentions. Ethical billionaires are possible. Ethical focus, distribution of wealth. Extreme wealth is inherently unethical. Value creation and innovation. Wealth can be ethically earned. So this is why the argument is so persistent. It's not just about billionaires. It's about what we believe fairness, responsibility, and justice look like in a modern economy. And another thought-provoking way to frame it is, instead of asking, are there ethical billionaires, a more revealing question might be, can a society that produces billionaires also produce fairness? I think this is a more appropriate question as well. This shifts the focus from individuals to systems, and this is what we always talk about. America is systemically racist, right? And then you'll have some individuals say, why are you calling me racist? It's like, bruh, individually you may be, a great person, but it's entrenched in the system. Every fiber of every system, there's some in it, some a little bit, some a lot, and some a lot, right? But all of this stuff is well documented. If people are purporting themselves to be high IQs, then you should already know this stuff. So let me go ahead and pull up. I'm going to pull up a couple more visuals, and then I'm going to get ready to shut her down. So this is from a debate on Reddit. This was from about 2 years ago. And I think they were responding to, are there ethical billionaires? Let's see what they have to say. I'll just read through some of the comments and we'll see. Okay, right about here. So I'm gonna just read some of these random comments, but this is on the same topic. Theoretically, there would be nothing unethical to being born into that wealth. Would that be true for people who inherited slaves? I'm not trying to be edgy, but the idea that an ethical person can spontaneously find themselves in an inherently unethical system and remain innocent seems silly. If I won a net $1 billion in the lottery tomorrow, I think it's fair if I create economic security for myself. But if I drive by 4 homeless people with a cardboard signs on my way to deposit the rest of it in the bank, I'm not a good person. And that was from Agent Dick Smash, which is quite a name, right? And then puts most of it back into the society rather than hanging on to it, right? Ethical billionaire is an oxymoron. T Swizzle uses her private jet. T Swizzle, they're talking about Taylor Swift, uses her private jet like she's using a bicycle and releasing multiple versions of her album, which causes more waste material and pollution. Yeah, it's funny because they talk about climate change and all the stuff, but these people are always flying around the country in their private jets, or the PJs as they call them, omitting a lot of greenhouse gases and carbon emissions and things, but they want to convince you that they care about the Green New Deal and things like that, right? So let's see. This person says, how is building a company exploiting others? People need jobs, goods, and services. Businesses provide them. And somebody says, oh, good to know the children working in the blood diamonds and sweatshops are not being exploited. Think of it this way. What if they were not working there? Unless they're like slaves, they technically have a choice, but they need the money. The business provides the money. So this is the whole, exploitation. This is what I call mutually agreed exploitation, where it's like, hey, they're not forced to do all of this slave labor or indentured servant labor, they need the money. So, fair exchange is no robbery, right? And this person put, you are unironically in favor of child labor, and that is wild, right? Some people don't realize how bad they're willing to crash out for capitalism and billionaires in the name of the market, right? So ethics require that you give away a substantial portion of your wealth. How much? Do you give away the same percentage? Why does this level of ethic only apply to billionaires? Why do you have to give away the same percentage? If someone is paid $58 a day and you take 8% of that away, that affects them significantly. The same cannot be said for a billionaire, where the difference is negligible. Sure, they maybe have to delay their 2-week Paris vacation, but they're never going to be in a position of struggling to survive. So yeah, the billionaires say, we pay so much more in taxes. Yeah, and you make so much more than everyone else. So how about you pay more, right? Or you don't have to be billionaires. You'll survive without being a billionaire. Many of you are well past 60 and 70 years old. Like, how much more time do you have left anyways? But they want to usher in the baby billionaires, which is going to be their offspring and progeny for them to carry on the oligarchy and maintain the plutocracy. But, good luck with that. The more inequality it gets, the more volatile things get in society. The more volatile it gets, the propensity for violence starts going through the roof. Now, I'm not advocating for this to happen, but, if you keep a junkyard dog chained up and malnourished, don't be surprised with its behavior. So every action has an equal and opposite reaction. We live in a society. A man alone on a desert island is simultaneously a billionaire and destitute. Billionaires cannot exist within a vacuum. It is a comparison. Now, I totally think that one person's work can be worth more than another's. You put in double the effort on your work and you should make double the amount. However, a billionaire is worth over 10,000 times more than the average person. That disparity of wealth cannot be argued as ethical, especially when you consider the original point that disparity is being sapped from society as a whole. So there's no person that could work 10,000 times harder than you. Whether it's Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, you may think that you like them, you're attracted to them, you like some of their witty, quirky comebacks. They're not working 10,000 times harder than the average person, right? So ethics might suggest that you don't get to be a billionaire level in the first place. Therefore, there's no need to give it away. Yeah. So all these people like, hey, I'm gonna give away all my money when I die. Like, bro, you shouldn't even be a billionaire. Then you won't even need to give any of your money away because society will be thriving. Everybody will be living comfortably. Most people are not even asking to be millionaires. We're saying, bro, we just want to live comfortably and we'll be good. Right. This is why they want a more docile, subservient type of citizen going forward in this country, because they can dangle citizenship over their head and they can always threaten, hey, we let you over here. You didn't want to be in your shithole country, so we brought you to the greatest nation ever. You know what I mean? So I'll just read a couple more of these and I'll get ready to shut it down. I thought it was another one that I seen that was pretty good, but um I think I already overlooked it. Okay, this one. I think it was this one. Let me make sure y'all can see that one. So it says, hold up. What about millionaires? What suddenly makes someone unethical when they go from 900 million to 1 billion, 800 million, 200 million, 1 million, whatever methods they have to exploit someone to get $1 billion can be the same as people use to get $100 million, right? And this person said, is OP is obviously using billionaire as a placeholder for people who are extremely wealthy in general, including millionaires. That really wasn't hard to understand. Yeah, so this could be a little bit of a straw man, but I get what the person is saying, right? Because when people fixate on the billionaires, it's like, oh my God, the billionaires are so unethical. Well, a lot of those millionaires are aspiring to be billionaires, even if they don't become that. They want to increase their millions tenfold. So many of them are using the same practices, tactics, and aligned with the predatory nature of the billionaires. So how are they different again? They're not really. And this is going to be the last thing that I'm going to end on. And I may have to do a whole stream touching on this. This is going to be, give me one thing, because they love to talk about this is a white Christian nation, but there does seem to be a lot of idolatry. And I thought that was a sin. You know, I'm not a biblical scholar, but hey, idolatry is pervasive and an insidious threat to our relationship with God. So this is from the Daily Christian Journey, written on Halloween of 24. So we're just going to go through a little bit of this and I'm going to shut it down because it's late. The hit, or it's early, depending on where you at. The hidden dangers of idolatry, a biblical warning. So idolatry is a sin, pervasive and insidious. It can take many forms, from the obvious worship of false gods to the more subtle idolization of wealth, power, or status. So what is idolatry? Idolatry is the act of giving reverence or worship to anything other than God. This can include physical idols, such as statues or images, as well as abstract concepts like money, fame, or success. The Bible was clear that idolatry is a sin and that it can have serious consequences for our spiritual health. So if this is a white Christian nation, it should be a bunch of white Christians talking like this. But instead, they're rather going to segregated churches, right? And then say, I don't see color. How do you see color on Sunday, though? So according to the Bible, idolatry can lead to a range of negative consequences. Spiritual blindness. When we focus on idols, we can become blind to the truths of God's word. Isaiah 44:18. Moral decay. Idolatry can lead to a decline in moral values and behavior. Galatians 5:19 through 21. Separation from God. When we prioritize idols over God, we can become separated from him. Ezekiel 14:4. So how to avoid idolatry? How can we avoid the dangers of idolatry? Prioritize God. Make God the central focus of your life and prioritize your relationship with him above all else. You got to put your Lord and Savior, the Most High, in front. Be aware of your thoughts and actions. Pay attention to your thoughts and actions and be mindful of when you may be idolizing something or someone. Seek accountability. Surround yourself with people who will hold you accountable and encourage you to prioritize God. So in conclusion, idolatry is a serious threat to our spiritual health. By prioritizing God and being aware of our thoughts and actions, we can avoid its dangers. Remember that idolatry can take many forms and that it's not just limited to physical idols. By staying vigilant and seeking accountability, we can maintain a healthy and vibrant relationship with God. So stop the idolatry, stop all the worship. And if you are going to worship someone, y'all know who and what to worship. So that's the stream. You know, it looks like we're 2 hours in. Hopefully y'all got some value from this stream. I do believe that it has some playback value. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, share, subscribe. It won't cost you a fee. All of that is free. Hit the notification bell, and it's about time for me to get up out of here. So I'm going to play a couple quick visuals, and then I will shut her down. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you.
Oh, you ain't know? That's just B-Eazy, B-Eazy that dude. B-Eazy, he is that dude. Ooh, B-Eazy that dude,
Ooh, Be-Eazy. He's styling and profiling, fresher than a mannequin.
Hey yo, who's that? Mama, there go that man again.
He the one who get the block booming and make the trap move. I'm still trying to figure out who is that dude.
Oh, you ain't know?
That's just Be-Eazy, Be-Eazy that dude. Be-Eazy, he is that dude, so you gotta let him cook. He be going dumb off the hook, got all them haters shook. He a king, you a rook, so don't never start tripping, get it twisted or mistook. Be-Eazy Dat Dude, boy stop playing. You know you dat dude and been dat dude. Back in the day, he was that dude. Fast forward to today, he's still that dude. Yup, that dude. You can see as clear as day that he here to stay. Either get with the program or move out the way. Ooh. Be-Eazy, he is that dude. Ooh, he is that dude. That dude, Be-Eazy, he is the one that you can call so he can get the job done. He about to reign supreme if you thought his run would soon end. He just getting started though, so go ahead and tune in. Be-Eazy, Be-Eazy, he is that dude. Ooh, 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 he is that dude.
Yeah.